It's Pyram King, and I'm really excited to bring to you another guide to Legends of Barovia, an extended campaign to Curse of Strahd. And in this detailed video, we'll be covering part 2 of Argynvostholt, the 3rd floor, the 4th floor, and the tower. Now, if you haven't watched part 1, I highly recommend you do, because we'll be talking some stuff that happens on the 1st and 2nd floor. Now, before we jump into this, a special thank you to you. Yes, you, the supporters that make this all happen. The detailed video guides, the PDF guides, the voice acting, all the icons, all the tokens, and of course the detailed Foundry adventure modules. If you support me at the Foundry level, your names are credits right here in the Foundry module. How cool is that? All these people making this come to life. Huge thank you to you, because without you, none of this would happen. Now, if you support me at the PDF level, your names are in the PDF guide. I really appreciate it. Look at all these amazing people. This is amazing. I've been on this epic journey for quite some time, and a lot of these people have been helping me and supporting me through this entire experience. So again, huge massive thank you to you. Now, a couple of special acknowledgments. Of course, you know my partner in this epic journey through the lands of Barovia, and that's DM Andy, the cartographer. We're going to be looking at 4 of his gorgeous battle maps. Here, he's gracious enough to allow us to include WebP versions. Those are the versions we're going to be looking at, are WebP versions. They're very efficient for running in Foundry. These are the ones that are included in my guide. However, if you want those 4K or those super high resolution 8K or gridded versions or night versions or weather effects, all of those are available over on DM Andy's Patreon page. There's a link in the description below. Now, in addition, huge thank you to Blair and his Seam Packer module. Blair makes modules for Foundry, and without Blair, none of this would be happening. So huge shout out to him. If you're interested in making your own adventures or modules and stuff for Foundry, go check out his Patreon page over there. There's a link in the description below. Both Blair and DM Andy are on our Discord channel. We have a great community on our Discord channel. People sharing their art, their token, stat blocks, DM tips, campaign stories and ideas. I'm on there all the time. I really get a kick out of reading all those amazing campaign stories. There's some great stuff going on over there. And both Blair and DM Andy are on there frequently. Come by, say hello, check it out. There's a link to the Discord channel as well. So without that out of the way, let's jump into this. Now, the first thing I want to do is pull back and take a look at this gorgeous battle map by DM Andy. It's really inspiring, the level of detail he puts into this. And one of the things I really like that he did was he made the ground down below out of focus. And that really creates that perspective that we're up on the 3rd floor. You can see everything down below is out of focus. And that really, it just adds a level of detail in here. If we zoom in really quickly, look at the level of detail here on the floor. We've got this dragon motif on the floor and these webs, cobwebs and everything, and the windows. It's just amazing. One of the things that I do to enhance them these WebP versions in Foundry is I use some lighting effects here. I've got some ghost lighting. You can see it shoots through some of the windows in here, and it's a pretty cool thing. It brings a little bit more atmosphere to these gorgeous maps that he's made. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on here. I cover it in detail in part 1, but I need to talk about it a little bit because there's some things in here we need to cover. Now, the current situation in the Manor Keep of Argynvostholt is being led by the Revenant Vladimir, Sir Vladimir Horngard. Now, right before his death, after he was being tortured by Strahd, he swore vengeance against him. And when Vladimir Horngard died, his soul came back and took up a body of a corpse, creating a revenant. And his hatred was so strong, he brought back the souls of several other knights of the Order of Silver Dragon to aid him in his vengeance against Strahd. Now, he knows Strahd can't be killed as a vampire, but he can make Strahd's life a living hell in Barovia, and he does so. Now, Sir Vladimir does not want his Lord Argynvost's skull to be returned to the mausoleum, because he knows if it does, it will end his centuries-long hate fueled vengeance towards Strahd. And it is the only purpose that he has in this afterlife, is to bring vengeance towards Strahd. So he does not want the skull to be returned. However, there are 5 residents in Argynvostholt that, if convinced, they will go to Sir Vladimir and say, it is time. We've been doing this for centuries. We need to rest. We need to end this vendetta. But they're not going to do it without you providing them some aid, a little side quest. Now, these 5 are 4 knights and 1 ghost. In part 1, we covered 2 of those side quests. We covered the ghost of Sister Mercia of the Abbey. She wants her bones returned to the Abbey to have a proper burial, to be laid to rest, and she will aid you and convince Vladimir to stand down and let the skull of Argynvost to be placed back into the mausoleum. The other one from part 1 was Sir Pius, the priest down in the chapel. He wants the players to go to Castle Ravenloft to steal the icon of Ravenloft that's in the chapel of Ravenloft and bring it back here to where he feels it belongs, in the chapel of Argynvostholt. And if you do that, he will aid the players and convince Vladimir to stand down and allow the skull of Argynvost put to rest. The final 3 are on the 3rd and 4th floors. In addition, on the 3rd floor, we're going to be running into Sir Godfrey, one of the more important NPCs in the entire campaign, because he may be a fated ally. He's also tied into the Fate Quest. He's also tied in to the Sunblade. We're going to learn all about that. And we also have the confrontation with Sir Vladimir Horngard himself. So there's a lot of stuff to cover here. We're really excited. Let's now jump into Argynvostholt. Now we're going to start in the south side of Argynvostholt. This is the south side of the manor keep that's been destroyed. And we are in here, right here, there's me, the adventurer, kind of wandering around this place, which I shouldn't be because it's probably too dangerous for me. And we have the Ruined Knight's Chamber here. In the Ruined Knight's Chamber, there's nothing of interest in this one, except for the fact there's a 10% chance that one of those spider revenants could be climbing up and attacking the players. So as it gets further up, the chances of the spider revenants getting up there from the ground floor where they're engaged from part 1, that probability drops. And the other side, we have a similar situation over here, but I also introduced that mechanic that I talked about in part 1, and that's a way of introducing some random items so that searches aren't just binary. One of the things that kind of frustrate me a little bit about the rules in 5e is searches are usually binary. You either have a search and you find something, or you have a search and you don't. And I thought, well, what if you make it a non-binary event? What if you say if you roll an 18, you find something, a 19 you find something different, and at 20 you find, and at a 20 you find something else that's different. So you put 3 of them in there, 2 of them in there, or 1 of them in there, so you can sprinkle some items in there. Now it's important that these items are not germane or part of any major quest line, because they may not find them. These are items that may or may not help your party, may or may not be something of interest, or they could sell, and you can put in as many or as few as you want, and you can put your own DCs in there. I'm put in 3 of them and made a suggestion. At 18 you find a short sword in here. If you roll a 19, you find a flail +1, and a roll a 20, you find a mithril chain shirt. Now you can scale these up considerably. You can make it a DC 22, 23, and 24. That means they have to have a significant modifier on their DC rolls so that they can hit that. They're going to have to be rolling 20s to hit those different things. So if you want to scale it higher and put in some more rare items, you certainly can. It's really up to you. This gives you a template in which to work from. Again, 10% chance Spider Revenant comes up here and gives the player a hard time. Now let's run into our first of the quest nights. Remember, we got those 5 quests. The quest is called the Suffering Quest. It's the 5 who are suffering in the afterlife who want to put into it. And the third one, the 2 again were the first 2 downstairs. The third one here is we have Sir Amorik. Now let's read about this. You walk into the upstairs gallery. The walls are covered in a faded murals of knights performing holy rites. 3 stained glass windows look down over the chapel below, and on the north wall is a mural of a sister of an abbey holding a sword. The name beneath the mural is Saint Markovia. Now we learn a lot about Saint Markovia. She was the blessed sister up at the abbey in Kresk. She became a saint after she tried to revolt against Strahd, and she was struck down, later becoming the saint, and the abbey becoming known as Saint Markovia. On the south wall is a mural of a monk standing there praying, and that's the saint, and the name below it is Saint Andrel, and that is the church of Saint Andrel in Vallaki. So it's kind of tying in these different locations as the players are looking around and seeing some images and stuff like that. Now there's a single candle flickering in the room, and there's a revenant kneeling silently in front of the candle. And there he is right there. Let's listen to what the Revenant has to tell the players. Now, we have the text of it, but we also have some voice acting here. So let's listen to what Sir Amorik has to say.
My poor love, Marina. Her life was cut short by the Dark Lord. He attempted to turn her, but her soul was set free by Brother Gregor. Yet she may not enjoy eternal rest, for her crypt was defiled by evil. Please help. Seek Brother Gregor in the church ruins of Berez. He will know how to save poor Marina's soul. I would be forever in your debt.
Now, this is really interesting questline, because he was once, centuries ago, the lover of Marina, the village girl from Berez. Now, if you haven't seen, you should watch the guide, The Church Ruins of Berez, that introduces the church that's been in ruins with the ghost of Brother Gregor. It was Brother Gregor that saved Marina's soul by actually having to kill her. She was being turned by Strahd into a vampire, and to save her, he committed this kind of, I guess, unforgivable act, but it freed her soul so she could never be turned into a vampire. However, her crypt in that guide has been defiled, and there's zombie vampires, and so Brother Gregor will teach the players on how to consecrate the ground, get rid of the vampires, and allow her to seek eternal rest. If the players haven't discovered that place, this knight Amorik, the romantic, sends the players on that questline. If you do that, he again, like the others, will go to Vladimir to convince Vladimir it is time to return the skull of Argynvost to the mausoleum and finally end this vendetta. So this is a great way of introducing the Marina questline. All right. So as we bid Sir Amorik farewell, we give him probably a nice little hug, saying, "Hey, buddy, keep praying. We'll be back." We head north up into the Argynvost Library. Now, the library is pretty interesting here. The ghostly light shines through the several windows, illuminating the room. 2 suits of armors right here, flank with dragon helms flank the main door. Along the walls stand these empty bookshelves. You can see them right here. There's empty bookshelves standing along the walls, covered in dust and cobwebs. A toppled chair lays next to the fireplace. A picture above the mantel has been slashed beyond recognition. The room has been ransacked centuries ago. To the northeast corner stands a pair of double wood oak doors with a dragon motif carved into them, and an iron door to the west wall has been forced open. The door hangs open on a single hinge. A single tomb lies on the floor. There's a book lying on the floor. You can see it right there. Its cover slashed by a sword. The title, barely legible, reads "The Oath of the Celestial." At the far end of the room, you notice a revenant knight looking out the window. Now let's talk about that tomb on the floor. It's the only book in here. And what I decided to do is, in Curse of Strahd, it mentions this book, The Oath of the Celestial, is supposed to be the oath that the knights take. It just mentions just a sentence of flavor text in there. I said, hey, you know what? If you guys know me, this is a great opportunity to throw in another little a book and some flavor text. So this book in here is called The Oath of the Celestial. And what I did was, and I thought this would be really cool, I'm living in central Portugal, and I visit the local castles, most of them built by the Templars. So I took the Templar's Oath and I kind of changed it up to make it the Oath of the Order of the Dragon. So this is actually a Templar oath that has been altered to be the Oath of the Order of the Dragon. So I have this book in here. There's a PDF version of this for free. I'll put a link in the description down below. You can go ahead and download it. It's a great player handout. It's just flavor text, but there's something interesting in the end of it. So as you go through the Oath, and here's the Oath, at the very end of it, you have the knights who signed it. And the knights who signed it are obviously Sir Vladimir, Sir Godfrey, Sir Amorik, Sir Pius, Sir Sonet, and Sir Fortis. The 4 knights at the bottom are the 4 knights that are part of the Suffering Quest. The 5th one being the Ghost of Sister Mercy. Obviously, she didn't sign this. So this is just a reinforcing clue to remind the players of the knights that are relevant, the important ones here that the players need to engage with at some point if they want to return that Skull of Argynvost. So this is just a fun player handout. It's a fun little read. But other than that, it's just a reinforced clue. It's to more add flavor and game immersion in there. The PDF, it looks really sweet. I put some images in there and it's written in Old English. Go check that out. It's available for free. Okay, there is a Revenant standing in here, just like before, and we got a little voice acting. There he is, Sir Sonet, in here. You've probably noticed the play on words of all the knights relative to their quests and what they're doing. I don't know, maybe you didn't pick up on that. Let's listen to what Sir Sonet has to say.
Our once great library of Argynvostholt is no more. The tombs stolen centuries ago, save for our oath celestial. If you could be so kind as to recover the tombs that tell our story and return them to our library. It is but a short list. The Fall of Argynvost, Legend of Lagdana, Battle of Berez, the Battle of Salinka Gates, the Lords of Barovia, and the Song of the Sunblade. It is these 6 tombs that would serve our humble library well and tell our history. I would be forever in your debt. Our history must live on and never be forgotten, or darkness will befallen other lands.
So Sir Sansa, all that text, by the way, that he said is right here. You can go ahead and send it to chat so the players can see it in chat, what he says. He's asking the players to get these books. Now, these books are scattered throughout Barovia. They're at the library, the Wizard's Tower. You can find them in various Burgermeister's homes. But to find these 6 books, return them to the library because Sir Sonet wants their story to be told, the history that has happened here into Barovia to be remembered, because he fears it will happen again, and it probably will. I mean, history is doomed to repeat itself, and that's why he values these books so much. So if you return these books to him, he will be in your debt, and again, he will be one of those knights that will go convince Sir Vladimir it is time to return the Skull of Argynvost to the mausoleum. So those are 2 of them there. And let's go on and check out some stuff in this room here. So if we head up to the double doors here to the north, we get into Sir Argynvost's, Lord Argynvost's bedroom. Now, there's nothing in this bedroom. There's rich drapes. It's faded by time and neglect. And he must have converted to dragon form to sleep because there's nothing in there. There's some rugs on the floor in here. Now, if you're running the Fey quest and it's been determined that the blue gem is hidden here in Argynvostholt, it's under the rugs. It's going to take a DC 20 investigation check for the players to find that it's hidden underneath there. And if they try to get to it, they try to open it, Sir Godfrey will arrive with other revenants to demand they leave the room of their fallen lord. They're rummaging in the room, spells trouble, and is disrespectful to their lord. He will fight the players if they try to get that blue gem that's hidden in the floor. So it would make it very hard for them to find it. If they do find it, they're going to have to fight their way out of here to take that blue gem. There's another way to get that blue gem, which we will find out here as well. Okay. If we go down here, we find that the room with the door that's hanging open right here is the old Dragon's Vault, and it's been ransacked. Obviously, Strahd came here, killed Argynvostholt, ransacked this place. He took all the books. Oh, by the way, all of those books that are mentioned are found in the Ravenloft study, in Strahd's personal study, all those books he stole and took all the books there. He only left the Oath book, slashed it probably with his sword, as kind of final rebuke towards to the knights, the orders that he hates. Probably spit on it too. Stupid knights left this book here. They thought it was this the end of the knights defiling their oath by slashing it with a sword. But all the other books he took with him. So copies of those books are found in the study at Ravenloft. So if the players are going there because of Sir Pius says you need to go there and get me, bring back the icon of Ravenloft, they might find the books there too. I mean, it's a nice way to also introduce that dinner with Strahd after this, because if the players get this quest, now they have a reason. It's like, hey, we're in the castle. Let's go try to steal some of those books, or at least go try to steal that icon of Ravenloft. So it's a nice way to introduce some purpose for them to go to that dinner with Strahd if they get invited. All right, so now let's head on over, and we are going to meet one of the most important NPCs in the campaign when we step into this room. And let's talk about this. This is the Knights of the Order. This is a very cool room. The leader of the Order, the Silver Dragon, used to convey here, and through the dust and cobwebs you see a faded war banner adorning the walls of the spacious chamber. In the center, which stands a heavy wooden table, an iron chandelier hangs above the table, which is surrounded by 6 high-backed chairs with wooden carved dragons perched atop them. Slumped at the head of the table is a knight. As he sees you enter, he rises from the table. This is Sir Godfrey. Very important character, NPC in there. Look at him. There he is, Sir Godfrey. Let's hear what Sir Godfrey has to say to the players. He has to say several things to them. And he has his own little dialogue section, so let's bring that up right here. Here he goes. So here's his welcome.
It has been some time since these halls were visited by the living. A great risk you have taken to enter the cursed halls of Argynvostholt. State your business.
So this opens up some role-playing, but what Sir Godfrey really wants to do, just like Lady Lagdana, he is one of the 2 quest givers of the Suffering Quest. So while the players may meet the other knights and the ghosts who have these quests, these are quests that won't seem important to them because the quests are isolated. So let's think about this for a second. You have 5 residents here. You have 4 knights and 1 ghost. Each of them have a quest that in and of themselves you go, I don't care about that. I don't need that. Big deal. They're forever in my debt. But once you visit Lady Lagdana, which is on the 2nd floor, which we did in part 1, or you visit Sir Godfrey, you'll realize that those quests, those debts that they have to the player, those debts mean that they can go and convince Vladimir to allow the skull to be returned. So the quest in and of themselves have purpose because he's going to say this to the players, and that is the Suffering Quest. Very similar to what Lady Laganda's spirit will say to the players.
Our Lord Argynvost was struck down by the deceitful Dark Lord Strahd. Strahd took the skull as a disgusting victory prize back to Castle Ravenloft. If you do possess the skull, or have knowledge of it, please, it must be returned to the mausoleum. We have sworn an oath to Sir Vladimir Horngard, thus we are not able to offer aid. My friend and confidant Vladimir would never allow the skull to be returned, for it would end his hate-fueled vengeance against Strahd. It is his hatred that possesses him, drives him, and binds us to him. Yet there are a few others who wish to see Argynvost finally laid to rest. Convince them, and you convince Sir Vladimir. He is loyal to his knights, as we are loyal to him. If enough of them demand Argynvost remains returned, he will listen. Find them, seek their aid. Those who remain loyal to Argynvost are Sir Pius the Righteous, Sir Fortis the Defiler, Sir Amorik the Romantic, Sir Sonet the Poet, and the ghost of Sister Marcia. Seek their aid. With Lady Lagdana, it should be enough to convince Sir Vladimir to allow Argynvost's skull to be finally laid to rest. Be wary. Not all revenants are keen to see their death-dealing end.
Now, what's important here is Sir Godfrey has 3 things that he will do for the players if they return the skull of Argynvost. Obviously, he, along with those other knights or the ghost of Sister Mercia, will go to convince Vladimir to allow the skull to be returned, turning off the arcane lock in the Glyph of Warding, asking the Revenants and protecting the mausoleum to stand down and allowing the skull to be returned. But Sir Godfrey has 3 other things of interest. Number 1 is the Sunblade. The players may discover, if they don't talk to him first, that the Sunblade is it's protected by magic in the top of the tower. We'll talk about the Sunblade in detail when we get there. If you return the skull of Argynvost, he will gladly gift you the Sunblade. So that's another reason to bring that skull of Argynvost back. The other thing is, he may be a fated ally. Right now, he's loyal to Vladimir. He can't break that loyalty, that bond to Vladimir. But if you bring the skull of Argynvost back, it will end Vladimir's hateful rage and allow the Revenants to rest, except for Sir Godfrey will remain and be your fated ally. And third, if you do hide the blue gem here, part of the Fey Quest, he will gift the blue gem to the players and tell the players what they must do. So let's talk about each one of these one at a time, and we can hear what Sir Godfrey has to say. We'll do the Sunblade first. Well, actually, we'll do the fated ally first here, and I'll play that for you. So if you are his fated ally and you return the skull of Argynvost, Sir Godfrey will say this to you.
You have done a great deed, worthy of my loyalty to see this to the end. Whisper my name should you need aid, or when you reach Castle Ravenloft, and I will come one last time to bring down the Dark Lord.
Now, he will also, regardless, if you bring that skull back, he will gift you the Sun Sword, so the Sunblade. So let's look at the Sunblade thing here. I'll send that to chat. There it is, and we'll hear what he has to say.
Take this sword. It is the Sunblade. It once belonged to Lord Argynvost, gifted to him by the Order of the Dragon. There are stories, though, of a magic hilt belonging to a great wizard that may empower the Sunblade with new properties. Yet this is just a story. Here, take it. Defeat the Dark Lord. Bring light and peace back to Barovia.
So what's important about the Sunblade, as we mentioned before, the Sunblade and the Sun Sword are the same but different. The Sunblade, without the magic hilt, is just the Sunblade. If the players go to the Wizard's Tower and find the magic hilt, taking the Sunblade and the magic hilt to Kresk, and they see the spirit of Sergei, Strahd's brother, Strahd's brother will fuse them together, and it's Strahd's brother that infuses himself into the Sunblade, into the hilt, making the Sunblade the Sun Sword in a sentient weapon. Very cool, because now when you go face Strahd, you have Strahd's brother's spirit in your sword, seeking to end his brother's horrid reign over the lands of Barovia. So it's very cool. But he's telling you right here, he says there's stories of a magic hilt belonging to a great wizard, which may empower the Sunblade. So he's giving you that clue. Wizard's Tower, that's a clue right there if you don't have that hilt yet. It's very cool. Let's talk about the last big thing here is the blue gem. And this is really important because he's going to help the players here. If the players return the skull of Argynvost and you have hidden the blue gem as part of the Fey Quest here, he's going to go and retrieve the blue gem, give it to the players, and tell them what they need to do. So let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say. I'll go ahead and put this into chat, and you can listen to the blue gem. Did I hit that? No. Yeah, I did. Let me just F5 this. Sorry, I just loaded it in there. Got to do it again. There we go. Here it is, the blue gem.
Baba Lysaga is the cursed swamp fae. She must be restored to her true self, the water fae, to help bring peace and light to Barovia. The gem belongs to the water fae. Take the gem to the stone circle. It lies on the other side of the Luna River from Berez. It is a dangerous journey. Once there, perform the ritual and consecrate the Fane circle. It will restore the water fae. Place the blue gem in the center of the stone circle. lay the tribute next to it, and then recite the Fey ritual poem. Listen carefully. I come from haunts of Coot and Hern. I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern, to becker down the valley. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges. By 20 thorps a little town, and 100 bridges. To last by Philip's farm I flow, to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. There is not much time. If Strahd finds out what you have, you will not be safe. These are dangerous times. I place the future of Barovia in your hands.
So that's really important because he's going to tell you what you need to do. He tells you where the stone circle is. It lies across the Luna River from Berez. It's a dangerous journey to get there. He tells you you need to bring the tribute, put the stone in the center of the stone circle. He tells you what the poem is, so the player should be writing this down. Again, as I mentioned the Fey Quest, one of the important things to do, one of the fun things to do is role-playing, right? And having the player or one of the players reading the poem there to recite the poem, going through that, consecrating the stone circle, bringing back the Fae. It's really cool. It's a fun role-playing moment. He's giving you the poem here, everything you need to do, the blue gem, everything you need to do to bring back the water Fae at this point. So very, very cool here. Again, all of this happens, only those things happen if you return the Skull of Argynvost, and to do that, you got to convince those other knights in the Ghost of Sister Mercia to help you. Now, I wrote in the guide that you only have to convince 2 out of the 5, but depending on your party size, their experience level, your campaign, you might want them to convince 3 or 4 or all 5 of them to come to Vladimir to say, hey, you need to stand down, allow us to return the Skull of Argynvost. It's really up to you on how you want to run that. Okay, when we head up north here, we get into the bedroom of Sir Vladimir. Now, I did the same thing here. The wooden chest contains 2 items covered in dust, a chain shirt and a longsword. However, I did that scaling DC perception check in here, and I put a ring of cold resistance, a dagger +1, and an amulet of health. If you roll those particular numbers, again, change up those items, scale it higher, scale it lower. It's up to you on how you want to run your campaign there. So let's go see I was going to say the bad boy for last here. So let's go in here first. We're in this area of the 3rd floor, and you'll notice that the ceiling is caved in here. It's a collapsed ceiling. Part of the roof is caved in. You can see the sky above. There's a bunch of rubble on the floor, and this is difficult terrain as you move through here, so it's kind of difficult. If you come over to this side, you can see this old bathroom here, and the ruined bathroom there's nothing of interest, but if you remember from the 2nd floor we had the bathroom where the black pudding comes through, this is where the black pudding resides. So the black pudding is sitting over here in the corner, and it will slowly start to form there, and you can roll initiative. So this is the black puddings traveling from this bathroom down to the bathroom from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor. So if you haven't seen that, that's on the 2nd floor. There's the bathroom there where the black pudding comes up through the drain of the tub, kind of this black blood, ichor, nasty crap, and it forms in the black pudding. Here it is in the corner again. So you have 2 different areas where the black pudding can happen. Now, if the players killed the black pudding on the 2nd floor, obviously it's not going to be here. And I just have it marked invisible, and you can go ahead and run that as you wish. The last thing on the 3rd floor that we're going to be running into is the bad boy himself, and that is Vladimir Horngard. You can see here he is sitting on this throne. Invisible, you have the Phantom Knights along the wall. We'll talk about how that goes as well. Now let's hear Vladimir in his own voice welcome the party. And here we go. I got to reload this again. I just put these all in here. Hold on. Sorry about that.
If you have come to destroy me, I am already dead.
I perished defending this land from evil over 4 centuries ago, and because of my failure, I am forever doomed. If you destroy this body, my spirit will find a new corpse to inhabit, and I will hunt you down. You cannot free me from my damnation, nor would I wish it. If you have come to free this land from the creature that feasts on the blood of the innocents, know this: there is no monster I hate more than Strahd von Zarovich, for he slew my lord Argynvost, stripped his flesh from his bones, and took his skull as a prize. Strahd destroyed the valiant order which I devoted my life. But he has already died once, and he must not be allowed to die again. Instead, he must suffer eternal damnation in a hell of his own creation from which he can never escape. Whatever can be done to bring him misery and unrest, I will do it. But I will destroy anyone who tries to stop me.
Well, that was Vladimir in his own words. So pretty much everything that we know at this point, which was, again, iterated by Lady Lagdana and reiterated again in his own words by Sir Godfrey, is Vladimir's living this hateful vengeance. He wants Strahd to suffer eternal damnation, right? And anyone that tries to stop him, it doesn't matter if you're an enemy of Strahd. If you try to stop him on his mission that he's been reliving over and over again for centuries, he's not going to have any of it. Now, the way I would roleplay this, and this has come up in questions, I've read this on Reddit, I've had some conversations with people. He is a badass. 192 hit points, armor class 17. I added some additional features. He has a +2 great sword already, but I gave him a half-plate armor +1, and he has a holy symbol of the Morning Lord. I did something with the holy symbol of Morning Lord, which is pretty cool. I'll talk about that in a bit. But if you do attack him, right, you have another problem. If he takes any damage, he calls upon 6 of these Phantom Warriors, and now you're in a big problem, because now you've got these 6 Phantom Warriors here, and you've just gone from a singular combat to combat with 7 people, and these Phantom Warriors are loyal to Vladimir, and they can take you guys. They can be, they're only 45 hit points, so they're relatively, compared to what your party is going to be at, not that strong, but their hits hurt. These are 1d8 +3 force damage, multiple attack. They have incorporeal movement, which makes things difficult. They can pop out through the wall. There's just 2 secret doors to the north and to the south, which also could be used by Vladimir if he needs to. So it could be a TPK. Now, the thing that I would think about is Vladimir will not attack the players out of spite or anything, right? He is myopically focused on Strahd. So unless the players attack or threaten Vladimir, there won't be any combat encounter. The players have to initiate the combat encounter, or the players have to convince Vladimir that they are going to defeat and destroy Strahd, and then he'll stop them. So the players have to incite him to combat. He's just not going to randomly attack the players. It's not his MO, right? His MO is Strahd. So either the players threaten him, the players attack him, or the players say, we're going to do it anyway. And he goes, yeah, good luck with that. I can't let you leave Argynvost if that's what you're going to do, because you guys just showed up in Barovia. I've been here for centuries doing this. So that could lead to that. This could be a very, very dangerous encounter. Now, I changed Vladimir's equipment up a little bit. He does come with a +2 greatsword, but he has a half plate +1 armor that I thought instead of regular half plate. He has the Ring of Thunder resistance, which I thought would be a good item to throw in there on him. If you do kill him, you'll have that. And the symbol of the Morning Lord, they mention that in the book, but it doesn't really do anything. I thought, which would be really cool, it's the symbol of the Morning Lord. The wearer of this gets 2d6 hit points. It's a bonus action, recovered. It recharges on a long rest. So this is a way, a healing mechanism. Players can heal up 2d6 worth of hit points if they attune to this. The only way they're going to get this is to take out Vladimir. Now, if you return the skull of Argynvost, remember all the revenants die. They get freed. They turn to dust, except for Sir Godfrey stays to help the players. So if the players come back and find just the body of the Sir Vladimir, he's left and his body is turned to dust, they will find these items on him. They'll find the great sword, the half plate, the ring of resistance, the whole holy symbol of the Morning Lord, which has that plus 2d6 hit points. I would make sure that the only things that they recognize when they're speaking to them is they notice that he's wearing this ring, and they notice that he has this holy symbol, but other than that, they don't know what the ring is. He's wearing a ring and he's got a holy symbol. It could be junk, it could be worth a little bit of money. They don't know the attributes of those things. But if they come back, if they defeat him, they'll find him. Or if they come back after they return the skull of Argynvost and the revenants that turn to dust, except for Godfrey. Godfrey will not disappear. Godfrey remains here as a revenant, even after you bring back the skull of Argynvost. So that's the combat in here. Again, can be deadly. So really, you're not going to have any combat encounters up here, except for you got the black pudding. You have a possible combat encounter with Vladimir, and you have possible combat encounters with those spider revenants. That brings our player. Let's head him up further. Here we go. Let's get him around. I'm traveling out here. It's like, thanks, Vladimir. I'm out. So now we head up these stairs, and we're going to go up to the 4th floor. There we go. And now I am on the 4th floor. There I am. Let's talk about the 4th floor out here. This is pretty cool. We're up at the top of the 4th floor, and these brazens here, they've got some weird blue glow about them. And if we head to the north, you're going to start hearing something. Watch this as you get closer.
Within its rightful doom, the light of Argynvost will be, and rid this land of gloom. When the
So what's happening here?
within its rightful
There's a
doom,
marbled
light of Argynvost
gargoyle dragon on the roof up here. So there's another building on top, and it's
this land
when
of
you get close to it, you can hear it. You can hear it whispering.
dreams its
Now, the way I set this up is this is actually a sound file on the map that fades in. So any player that comes within this area will hear this, and it will fade out. You'll notice it'll fade out as you go.
land of gloom.
You can barely hear it now. So as they get closer, they'll hear it. This is a voice echoing out as you pass, and it's coming from this marbled dragon gargoyle there, and it is the spirit of Argynvost saying this over and over again. So you can hear it there. Now, if you get up to the any of these turrets up here, you have these turrets with the ancient ballistas up here. You'll notice one of the revenants. These revenants will not speak to the players. They will not engage with the players at all. These revenants are standing watch. They're ordered to stand watch to protect Argynvostholt. These are not named revenants. They're just normal revenants here, unlike the other named revenants. However, if you, for instance, if you did attack Vladimir and you continue on to the castle, or if you did attack any of the revenants, these revenants will become hostile to you. If you attack one of these revenants, they will become hostile to you. There's two of these revenants. One is on each side, and we'll just show you. There's one here, and there's one over here. So these revenants completely ignore the players unless they attack one of the revenants or or killed one of the revenants in there, or unless they're attacked directly. Otherwise, they'll just be up here pacing back and forth, standing watch. There is one revenant of interest up here, and that is this revenant right here. And this is Fortis. I actually got the wrong one in here. Let me just delete him and then bring Fortis in. Sorry. There he is. Where is Fortis? Where is Sir Fortis? There he is, Sir Fortis the Defiler. But there he is. Sir Fortis is standing by this destroyed ballista, and he says to the players this. Let's bring this up here. I'm going to delete this one out, and you're going to hear Sir Fortis. He is the last of the 5 of the Suffering Quest. So here is Sir Fortis in his own words. And there he is.
It is only a matter of time before the other ballistas fail. We have held Argynvostholt for centuries against the forces of the Dark Lord. Unfortunately, we face a new threat, the kind I have not seen before. Our own Revenant Knights are being captured when they resurrect by an evil Spider Queen who has turned them against us and to do her bidding. Sir Vladimir does not see them as a threat, but a mere nuisance, but I believe in time we will be overrun. Seek out the Spider Queen's lair, defeat her, and bring me her head as proof the threat has ended. I believe her lair are some old ruins southwest of Argynvostholt. I will be forever in your debt, knowing Argynvostholt and our fellow knights are freed of this horror.
So this is the last one, and the quest, it's southwest of Argynvostholt. There's some old ruins there. It's a separate guide, and that's where the Spider Queen is creating the Spider Revenants. We talked about that in more detail in part 1. So if you bring back the head of the Spider Queen to him, he'll be in your debt. He will go convince Vladimir it's time to return the skull of Argynvost to the mausoleum and end our centuries-long vendetta. So he is the fifth one to give you the quest. We got a couple other rooms up here. We've got these roof turrets, and what I did with the roof turrets is, remember in these castles, these roof turrets were where you had these archers firing down from here. They have ballistas here, and I don't see these knights as archers. I see them more using crossbows. And so each turret has random items in them. I have random tables, and I'll show you. Here's a random table. So what I would do is, as they enter into the roof turret, and they search these roof turrets, there's 2 of them here, one on each side over here. You can roll as many times as you want to from the random table. This is a weighted table, and I'll show you how this works. You just roll from the table, and this is what they find in here. Maybe you roll twice. You find a heavy crossbow and a crossbow bolt. Or it's rare, but you might find a +1 crossbow bolt, +2 crossbow bolt, +3 crossbow bolt, or a +1 heavy crossbow. So those are going to be rarer. They're going to be harder to roll for because this is a weighted table. But there is a chance that they find, there's a crossbow bolt case. Let's see if we get something magical out of here. No, nothing yet. There we go. We got a crossbow bolt +1. So this is kind of fun. It keeps in theme of the turrets. There's going to be crossbows and crossbow bolts in there. All right. So as you're traveling around up here on the roof, you can see that the roof drops off down here. Here's the other turret, by the way. If you go in there, and you might find a crossbow or crossbow bolts. This drops down 60 feet. Players falling there will suffer, fall all the way to the bottom. They'll suffer 6d6. I like to put these in here so they know the red zone. That means if the player steps into there, they're just going to fall. So they know where not to go, and you told them what the drop is, 60 foot. They know that 66 worth of bludgeoning damage. You can see this building in the center is kind of collapsed and fallen. There's just the dragon in the north that we just talked about. But there's a hole here, a hole in the roof. This falls down to the collapsed ceiling down below near Vladimir Horngard. You remember that collapsed ceiling, that rubble? Players fall through there, they'll suffer 2d6 worth of damage. They can see it's a pretty big hole here. They don't want to step into that hole. And that leads to this tower entrance door over here. Now this door here, when the players get here, this door is locked from the inside. Okay, it's barred from the inside. So they're going to have to try to get through to get into the tower. The tower has been ordered to be protected, and there are 2 of those Phantom Knights with arrows that are going to be 1 floor up, 2 floors up, firing arrows down at the players. Okay, they're up in the turrets. You're going to see these turrets right here. There's a turret here, and there's a turret here. They're going to be firing down at the players from those turrets. It's going to take a DC 20 to bust open this door to get in here. Now, one of the things that I did, a little change up for the rules, is these 2 turrets here. These turrets start down on the first floor. Let me just show you really quick. I'm going to jump down to the first floor and show you. If we're at the first floor in the chapel, you'll see these stairwells, right? These stairwells, they'll go up. They go up to the 2nd floor, which is the balcony looking down on the chapel. We covered that in the first video, these 2 floors. On the 3rd floor, what I did is they continue to go up. There's a little window you can look down the chapel, but they just continue to go up on the 3rd floor. You cannot get off of them on the 3rd floor. Then they get up to the 4th floor. They continue to go up, right? It's the 3rd and 4th floor. You can't get out. There's little windows you can see out. You can't get up, right? Maybe right here, you know, you've got one of the archers shooting over from them. We can do that. We can just move one of them in there. But it goes all the way up to the 2nd floor of the tower right here. So the archers are standing up here in these parapets. So this is where your player is. So just imagine, I'll just show you this here. Let me clean this up, how this works. So when your players are down here, I'll just put myself down here. When we're down here trying to get in the door, the 2nd floor of the tower, these Phantom Warriors will be firing down arrows down at the players that they're trying to bust in the door. Now remember, that door on the 4th floor is going to take a DC 20 strength check to open it. There's no lock on it. It's barred from the inside. So the only way to get in the tower is through this door or up one of these parapets to the top, and then you're going to have to face the Phantom Warrior. So either way, you're going to have to face a Phantom Warrior to get into this tower, right? So you go up one of these, you face him, or you try to get through the door, you're going to be hammered by these arrows. They won't attack unless you try to bust open the door. As soon as you try to gain entrance to the tower, they're going to start firing down arrows at the players. Remember, the Phantom Warriors that are up there, they're in, I believe, 3/4 cover? Yeah, they have 3/4 cover behind the arrow slit, so it's going to be hard to hit them. You might want to figure out another way to take out that door. A spell, bust open that door, try to distract those Phantom Warriors that are going to be up there in those two little turrets firing arrows down at you. Once inside, you can see down to the chapel down below. Once inside, you're at the lower landing, you can go up to the next floor, and I'm going to show you something interesting on the next floor. We have a couple problems here on the next floor. The first problem we have on this floor is when you make the noise, the creaking noise, out here behind these doors are the Phantom Warriors, right? So you can run this one of 2 ways. You can have them roll. They're trying to roll quietly. Maybe they have some spells so they get past quietly. Maybe they don't alert them. But if they make any noise, these doors open and the Phantom Warriors come in and begin attacking the players. Otherwise, the Phantom Warriors are going to be out here because they're looking down to see if anybody's trying to gain entrance, right? They've been assigned to the death to protect the tower at all cost, right? There's no talking to Phantom Warriors. That doesn't work. Now, there's something here on this map that the players can't see, but you will notice, and I'll show it to you. It's right here. This is a trap, okay? I have it set, the trigger of this trap set at 25%. You can set it whatever you want to. It's just a 5-foot square. You can move it around. I'm gonna move it actually. Maybe I'll move it over to here. You know where these floors, and you can make 2 of them. See where these floors are kind of weak? Maybe you put it right here, or right here, wherever you want. I'm gonna put it right here. Right. So if the players stand over on this area, and they walk over here. Here's me. There's a chance that they're gonna fall through the floor. This is gonna trigger a 25% chance. So it means a couple players might walk over. It might not even break through. I just triggered it on there. Let's see if I can trigger it. So far, I'm not triggering. 25% chance. Come on. There we go. I just triggered. What happens is I fall down. You just saw I just took damage. It took 12 damage. Let's see. Yeah, I just took 12 damage. I fell down to the lower level, to the 4th floor, the entrance up to the tower. If your players are sneaking through and they manage not to alert the 2 guards that are up in the 2 Phantom Warriors, falling through the floor will certainly bring those Phantom Warriors. But you'll notice something about the floor now. Now the players will see this. The floor reveals this hole, so the tile will reveal this hole. To reset the tile, just right-click on the tile and make it visible again. But as soon as it's visible, they'll see the hole and they'll know, hey, I don't want to step through there. I'll fall down through the floor. So that's a trap right there. And you can move that around. It's just a floating tile. Move it to whatever square you want to, or put 2 of them in there if you want to. It's up to you. You can put 2 in there, but certainly as soon as that happens, those Phantom Warriors will certainly come out and make a problem for the players. What am I doing here? I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So now if we go up to the next floor, we will go up to the top tower. The wood stairs climb to the tower's peak, which has a stone floor and a 30-foot high-pitched roof. Ravens roost on the crisscrossing rafters, coming and going through the small holes in the roof. 10-foot high, 5-foot wide arch windows are evenly spaced around the walls. Each window consists of lead lattice fitted with small panes of transparent glass. In the center of the room is a glass case casting a magic glow about the room. A sword floats in the magic, casting off light, and you feel a warmth of the light and the power from its glow. So in the center of the room, you see this here. You can show this to the players. This is what they see. And this is the Sunblade. It is in a magic container, clear magic container in the tower. And this is why no one's allowed up here. The magic case is protected by a glyph of warning. Anyone who attempts to break it open, move it, or damage the case triggers a glyph, which the runes cause a radius of light, sending 5d8 lightning damage in a 20-foot radius around the room. So you want to be careful. The runes magically reappear again, rearming the glyph of warning. There is no way the players are going to be able to bust through this thing. They gotta return the Skull of Argynvost. In doing so, constantly doing this, all they're going to do is they're going to kill themselves. Only Sir Godfrey can remove the glyph of warning, as he was entrusted by Lord Argynvost to protect the Sunblade at all cost. A successful Arcana check DC 15 on the magic case reveals the glyph of warning and what it can do. A successful Arcana check DC 20 on the Sunblade reveals it is a very powerful magic weapon. The ravens that are roosting here are harmless, but they're watching the characters with great interest. They will report back to the keepers of the feathers about the character's progress. Now, the characters look out the windows. You can use the following text to describe what they see. To the north and the east lies the mist-shrouded valley with dark woods, a small town, and a lonely windmill on a precipice. To the south, the rivers flow through the foggy marsh. To the west, between rocky hills, you glimpse the abbey perched on the snowy mountain beyond the long stretch of fog-smothered pines. They can see around. They can see the windmill in the far distance, the forest. They can see the snow-covered mountains. They can see Kresk and the Abbey, Vlaki. They can see the swamps down below. So it's a good way of them to gain their bearing. You can expound on this, if you will. Now, if you light the beacon, obviously we return the skull. If the players do, by the way, if the players do get this, this will become invisible because it'll be gone and the players will have the sun sword. However, if they light the beacon, we got the beacon light over here, and you're up here at the time, you'll hear this. The beacon will light up here. And there's the beacon light. This lights up through every single floor. So right here, it's the most prominent, but as you go down each floor, the light is going off. So you can see the light as you go down each floor. It gets a little fader and fader, but you can see it's still there. So light lights up even at the lowest levels. It lights up outside. So as they're leaving, which was really cool, as they're leaving Argynvost, they'll be able to see the light of the beacon, even on the first floor. It's kind of faint down here at the first floor because the beacon's way up there, but there is a light that's emanating there. So that is it. That is Argynvostholt. This is part 2. You found the sword, the sunblade, in its magic case up there. There's a glyph of warning that will cast lightning upon the players. Players can discover the glyph of warning that it's super dangerous. They probably don't want to do this. And then the runes magically reappear again around the glass case. They realize, oh crap, that glyph of warning comes back. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get around it. Now you may, if the players are really creative, allow them to get in there and to get the sunblade. But ideally, what they want to do is win over Sir Godfrey. Because if the blue gem is hidden here, if he's a fated ally, if they want that sunblade, they want to win over Sir Godfrey and do the suffering quest. I really hope you like Argynvostholt. I really love putting this together. It's one of my favorite new locations. Team Andy did an amazing job with this location. I'm really enjoying it. Until next time, may all your rolls be critically successful.